We're gonna be making some pecan pralines. First thing we want to do, what I always do is toast the nuts. So preheat the oven for 350 degrees. And 2 cups of pecans. I always line the baking sheet with aluminum foil. So once the oven's preheated, you want to put this in for about 8 to 10 minutes. It brings out a lot of flavor. It tastes a lot better like this, especially when you're doing candy and stuff. So I recommend toasting your nuts before you make the candy. While the pecans are toasting, you can line 2 baking sheets with some parchment paper and spray it with some nonstick spray. When the pecans are done toasting, I just put it in a bowl because you're gonna need it for later after the candy starts to melt and everything. You mix this in at the end before you pour it. So just set that aside. Okay, for this part, I like to separate the wet and the dry. So on this bowl is 1/2 cup of milk. I use whole milk, and 1/2 cup of sweetened condensed milk. And then in this bowl, it's 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 cups of packed brown sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then 4 tablespoons of butter. You need to melt this before you put everything in the Dutch oven on the stove. Okay, you're gonna melt some butter, 4 tablespoons of butter. Melt that in the Dutch oven. I got on number 4, that's like a little below medium. Last time I tried making this, I burnt the candy. The first 2 times I made it, it came out good. So maybe I need to stir it more while it's bubbling. You're gonna melt the butter first, then you're gonna add the milk and the sugar and salt. Okay, butter's melted. I'm gonna put the wet in first, the milk. Stir that up a little bit. And then the sugar and salt. I'm gonna mix this up and make sure everything's blended together. I'm gonna keep stirring it, turn it up to about medium. Keep stirring it till it starts bubbling. Or else it'll burn on the bottom. And once it starts bubbling, I'm gonna put in the candy thermometer because it needs to reach 235 degrees. This is pretty much softball. It's starting to bubble now. I guess it's okay to stir it before it reaches softball, the softball stage, about 235 degrees. Once it reaches that temperature, don't stir it anymore because it'll make it into the like a harder kind of candy, I guess. It'll form it in the candy. Yeah, it's starting to bubble now, so I'm gonna put in the candy thermometer. Wait till it reaches 235 degrees. About 230. $235. Take out the candy thermometer. It burnt a little bit. Take it off the heat. Mix in the pecans. You want to stir this for a few minutes. Yeah, it burned a little bit on the bottom. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's about done. Now I gotta pour it on the sheet pans. Now you want to get about 1/4 of a cup for each one. I use a little ladle. Just pour it on the parchment paper. I'm gonna do it kind of fast because it's gonna start to set. Get the other pan. And it doesn't take that long for these to set. Just gotta cool down for a little bit. This is the finished product here. The pralines are set. That's what they look like. They're really good.